What kind of man buys a victory jacket before the tournament even starts? April 1954. Billy Joe Patton, a 32-year-old lumber salesman from Morganton, North Carolina, received an invitation to the Masters. Nobody outside his home state knew his name. Before driving to Augusta, he did something unusual. He bought an expensive white cashmere jacket. When friends asked why, Patton smiled and said he wanted to look nice at the award ceremony. Most golfers arrive hoping to play well. Billy Joe Patton arrived believing he would win, and he almost did something that stunned the entire golf world. Round 1. Patton shot 70, tying for the lead with Dutch Harrison. Back in Morganton, the local newspaper editor Stanley Moore admitted they had no idea about Billy Joe's transformation. He had changed from a nervous tournament golfer into someone who played free and easy. Round 2 brought the real shock. Patton shot 74 and took the solo lead, becoming the first amateur ever to lead the Masters after 36 holes. He stood one shot ahead of defending champion Ben Hogan. His playing style was unlike anything Augusta had seen. Sports Illustrated described it perfectly. Like skirmishers under mortar fire, the van of the gallery would scatter, heads hunched, as Billy Joe's ball rattled through the branches. His lightning-fast swing sent bombs off the tee, wild but powerful. When his ball disappeared into the trees, spectators called it Billy Joe country. Yet somehow, he would hit spectacular recovery shots and sink impossible putts on Augusta's treacherous greens. Round 3, 75. Patton fell 5 shots behind Hogan, 3 behind Sam Snead. Most golfers would have considered it over, but Billy Joe Patton was not most golfers. He described his philosophy simply: full bore, full guts. Final round Sunday, April 11th, 1954. The Masters had no television broadcast yet. That wouldn't start until 1956. Back home at Mimosa Hills Golf Club, where Patton had learned the game as a child, his neighbors gathered in desperation. Long-distance phone calls cost a fortune in those days. The golfers pooled their quarters together and called Augusta National, begging for updates hole by hole. Every time news arrived, they would shout it across the clubhouse. Lodge brothers brought portable radios to their Saturday poker games. The entire town of Morganton stopped working. Everyone focused on one thing: their Billy Joe. Meanwhile, at Augusta, Patton bogeyed the first hole, but he birdied the second to begin his comeback. Through the front 5 holes, he could not gain ground on the leaders. The crowd of over 8,000 people waited nervously for something magical to happen. They did not have to wait long. Hole 6, par 3, 190 yards. Patton pulled his 5-iron and swung. The ball flew straight into the cup from the air. Years later, Patton recalled the moment. The ball hit the hole on the fly and wedged between the flagstick and the edge of the cup. When I took the flagstick out carefully, there were 3 times the number of people there as there were when I hit the shot. The roar echoed across Augusta National. Bobby Jones, the legendary co-founder of the Masters, was eating lunch outside the clubhouse. He felt the building shake. Jones later said, "The china started rattling, the walls trembled. I had to go out on the porch to see what Billy Joe had done now." In Morganton, pandemonium erupted when the news arrived through crackling phone lines. People screamed and hugged strangers. But Patton was not finished. He birdied the 8th hole, then the 9th. His front 9 score, 32, tying the Masters' 9-hole record for amateurs. After 9 holes, Patton stood tied with Ben Hogan at 1 under par. After the 11th hole, he was leading by 1 shot. The crowd of more than 8,000 abandoned Hogan and Snead to follow the amateur. Spectators were witnessing something impossible. No amateur had ever won the Masters. But for a brief, glorious moment on that Sunday afternoon, it seemed like Billy Joe Patton just might do it. Hole 13, par 5, Amen corner. Patton still led the Masters. His tee shot was perfect. He stood 225 yards from the green with Rays Creek lying in wait. 8,000 people held their breath. His playing competitor remembered Patton announcing loudly, "They aren't here to watch me lay up." He pulled his forewood. That lightning-fast swing. The ball curved right, splash. It landed in Rays Creek. The massive gallery groaned as one, heads dropping in disbelief. But Patton refused to quit. He took off his shoes, pulled off his socks, and waded into the creek. He actually considered blasting the ball out from the water. Eventually, common sense won. He took a drop and finished the hole barefoot, his shoes and socks still sitting on the bank, double bogey 7. His master's dream was dying. The crowd looked devastated, like mourners at a funeral. Patton turned to face them and said, "This is no funeral. Let's smile again." Those 4 words would become immortal. The London Sunday Times later called it a suitable Easter text, if ever there was one. Patton birdied 14 to recover slightly. But at the 15th hole, another par 5, he tried going for the green again. He sculled a 2-wood from a bare lie, another splash into the pond. Bogey 6, 2 par 5s, 2 water balls. The championship was gone. He parred the final 3 holes to finish with 71. Third place, 1 shot out of the playoff between Hogan and Snead. Later, Patton explained his thinking. "It wasn't choking, and it wasn't pressure. I got birdies going for the pins, and I got the 6 and 7 going for the pins. No regrets, no alibis." Monday's playoff, Sam Snead shot 70, Ben Hogan 71. Snead won the green jacket. But at Sunday's ceremony, Billy Joe Patton was the star everyone wanted to see. He wore that white cashmere jacket he had bought before the tournament. He stood between Hogan and Snead, the 2 greatest golfers alive. Bobby Jones presented him the Low Amateur Award. Jones spoke to the crowd. If anyone ever created a stir in golf, he did. He has no cause for regret because he finished 1 stroke behind the 2 greatest golfers in the world. Sam Snead, the champion himself, turned to Patton and said, "Billy Joe, you nearly got the whole turkey." There was no condescension in their voices, only respect and admiration. Patton addressed the gallery about his decisions at 13 and 15. "I don't feel bad about that 6 at 15, and I don't feel bad about that 7 at 13. I left Morganton with my mind made up. I was going for it 72 times if I had the opportunity." The crowd gave him a standing ovation. He had lost the tournament, but he had won something far more valuable, the respect of the entire golf world. After the Masters, Billy Joe Patton became an instant national celebrity. President Dwight Eisenhower, an avid golfer himself, took notice. He invited Patton to play at Burning Tree Club near Washington. They played together multiple times over the years. 1 round produced a story that became legendary. Hole 18 at Burning Tree. Patton hit his typical wild tee shot into the deep rough. His recovery shot went worse, flying behind a maintenance garage. He told Sports Illustrated what happened next. "I hit it behind a garage where they keep tractors, and then through a parking lot. The ball flew everywhere, garage, parking lot, around obstacles. When Patton finally appeared on the green, President Eisenhower had completely lost track of him. Confused, the president asked, "Billy Joe, is that your first or second ball?" Patton smiled and replied, "I'm only playing 1 ball, Mr. President. You just think it's 2 because I'm hitting it a lot." Eisenhower laughed hard. The story revealed something important about Patton's character. He never changed his personality based on who was watching. President or hometown buddy, Billy Joe was always himself. After his Masters performance, everyone expected Billy Joe Patton to turn professional. He had finished in the top 10 of 5 major championships during his career. He clearly possessed the talent to compete with the world's best. But Patton never considered it. He remained an amateur his entire life. He continued working as a lumber salesman in Morganton, eventually becoming self-employed as a lumber broker. He told sports writer Ron Green Sr. that he made more money in the lumber business than he would have made playing professional golf in that era, before television transformed the sport into big business. Patton explained his reasoning simply, I just don't like to be gone all the time playing golf. My first job is to look after my family and make a living. I am a lumber dealer. He told the News Herald, I never thought for a minute of turning pro. Golf remained his weekend hobby, not his profession, yet he continued dominating amateur tournaments. He won the North and South Amateur 3 times in 1954, 62, and 63. He captured the Carolinas Amateur 3 times and the Southern Amateur twice, the last one in 1965 at age 43. He played on 5 Walker Cup teams with an 11-3 record, then captained the 1969 team. Billy Joe Patton chose happiness over history, and he never regretted it. 30 years later, the Masters of 1984, Ben Crenshaw led the final round on Sunday. After birdieing the 12th hole, he arrived at the 13th, the same hole where Billy Joe Patton had lost the Masters 3 decades earlier. Crenshaw hit an excellent tee shot. He faced the same agonizing decision Patton had faced. Go for the green in 2 or lay up safely. He knew Tom Kite, playing behind him, had just found water at 12. He later recalled, I was suffering over the decision. Then he looked into the gallery and saw Billy Joe Patton standing there watching him. Crenshaw, a devoted student of golf history, instantly remembered the 1954 story. Patton's fate flashed through his mind. Went for it, found water, lost the Masters. Crenshaw said, but then I thought about Billy Joe Patton. It was like a beacon. He took it as a sign. He laid up safely, made par, and went on to win his first major championship by 2 strokes. Here is the twist. Billy Joe Patton was not at Augusta National that day. He usually worked as a rules official, but was not present for the final round. Crenshaw had seen a ghost, or someone who resembled Patton, or perhaps pure imagination. Real or not, the vision saved him. Patton's legacy had transcended physical presence. 30 years after his moment, he was still influencing champions. Patton continued playing into his senior years, winning the Carolinas Senior Amateur in 1979 and 81. He served golf extensively, joining the USGA Executive Committee in 1983 and serving as president of the Carolinas Golf Association. He worked many years as a rules official at the Masters. In 1982, he received the Bob Jones Award, the USGA's highest honor for sportsmanship. Multiple halls of fame inducted him. The North Carolina Amateur Winners' Trophy now bears his name. He remained in Morganton his entire life. On January 1st, 2011, he died at age 88. 7 years before his death, a reporter asked about 1954 and not winning the Masters. Patton smiled and said, "You know what? I was better off not winning it. I've lived a very happy life." Ron Green Sr. spoke at his funeral. In 50 years of writing sports, he was my favorite person I ever covered. He was all class. Billy Joe Patton proved you can become legendary without championships. He showed that adventure matters more than safety, and joy matters more than victory. The most adventurous amateur in history who stunned 2 legends and lived without a single regret.